Assalamu alaikum. It has been a while since I made a video or posted a video. I'm out for a walk, so I thought this is a good time. The video that I'm sharing today, you'll learn how to make naan bread. So these are the ingredients that we need to make naan. Flour. I mixed white flour and whole wheat flour. Some lukewarm water to mix yeast in, a little bit of sugar, salt. I use pink salt from Pakistan, yeast, and some olive oil. Okay, get out of the way. Usually, when we make recipes, there are so many pros that are making perfect recipes, and that makes one wonder, oh, life is so perfect, or it has to be this way or that way. All the dishes and pots have to be synced and beautiful, and I decided to use things the way I would use them in my daily life. I make naan, I don't really measure things. So this is like a pan full of flour, two different kinds of flour. And this pan, by the way, it's a beautiful pan. That was a wedding gift, and my sister bought this from me, I think from Chinuyot. Okay, so the oil goes into flour, a cup of oil, 3/4 cup, a cup, doesn't matter. And then salt, is about a tablespoon. You can change the amount, you can use less, you can use more, it's totally up to you. It gets mixed up, and I put this aside for a little bit. And I will take the warm water that's in this bowl, put some sugar in there, maybe 2 spoons of sugar, about 3 spoons of yeast. 1, 2, 3 should suffice. You can add a little more if you want, depending on the flour that you have. And I got a phone call. Let me turn that off. The telemarketers are always after us. So I'm going to mix this rise, and we add sugar. That helps with the whole rising process. I'll let it rise for about 10 minutes. So on days when I make naan dough, I also make some pizza, and I'm going to roast some vegetables on the stove because I wanted to make some pizza with roasted vegetables. Fill the well with water, and we're going to mix it. You know, this is going to be hard because I'm holding the camera and at the same time trying to mix this. Let's see if I can do that. Anything is possible, right? I added some more water to this. I keep mixing it. Still punching it. A few more punches using both hands. It's not easy work by any means. So this dough is ready now. I'm going to cover it with an imperfect lid. We'll get some perfect naans to eat though. We'll sit here for about 3 hours at least. Okay guys, this is what real life is like. What you see in most of the videos will be a perfect dough after you leave it for 3 hours. I left it for 3 hours and it has overflown the pot. I should have picked a bigger pot. So I'm going to fix this and then show you the good copy. So in an ideal world, this is what it would look like, not the imperfect overflowing dough that you saw. Bi-weekly naan making session begins. It usually lasts for about 2 weeks or maybe 10 days, depending on how much rice and noodles we eat in a week. 35 to 40 naans that I'm making. It's a mixture of whole wheat and white flour, and I'm using 2 tawas. So once you have made these balls, let them sit for a good 10 minutes, and then you will start with a row that starts to poof up first, and you keep moving down the row. These ones are not as poofed as the ones that I rolled first. The actual art of making naan is the timing that you give it on tawa, the heat of the tawa, broiling naan, making sure that it doesn't burn, making sure that the tawa is nice and hot, not super hot, because if it's super hot it's going to burn. Have some butter handy that you will be using on your tawa because tawa tends to become dry. So put some butter. much of the muscle power if the ball has been sitting for a while. But if you take a fresh ball, it takes longer to roll it. Just roll it 1/4 inch thick, and you're going to put that on the tawa. Having 2 tawas is really handy, and you can move faster. It will be nice to have 2 chefs working in the kitchen too, but today it's just me. Naan making always reminds me of those communal tandoors back in our village where we used to spend our summer break. And if you feel that the naan's a little too thin, you can always kind of squish it together so that it's not as thin. I'll make these 2 naans without any sesame seed on top, but the other ones I'll make with some sesame seeds. We'll let it cook. It's going to poof up a little. As you can see, this one's poofing up. I have to keep the temperature under control, medium and then lower, and medium and lower. I have to kind of keep doing that because somehow the tawa becomes quite hot quite easily. I have this grill sitting here because I want to show you how to make a naan. Even if you don't have an oven, you can just use a tawa and a grill. Ideally, if you have gas stove, it works the best. You can see that this naan is poofing up really nicely. Okay, still needs a little more time. We'll wait. I'm using grill to cook the other side of the naan. The only problem that you can have with using a grill is that you will have those marks on it. So here's a naan that has been cooked on a grill, using a grill. You can see the marks on there. It's a nice golden color. Because this edge was sitting at the corner of the grill, you can see that it kind of ripped from here. And that's okay. Like I said, life is a blend of perfections and imperfections. Nothing is like perfect. Here I'm mixing a little bit of sesame seed, some caraway seed, kalonji, and flax seeds. Okay, I'm going to top my naan with a mixture of these seeds, just to add some more flavor and make them a little more healthier. I mean, they're homemade, they're quite healthy already, but adding these seeds is going to add flavor and some health benefits. This naan, I will put some topping on that. I'll take some water, just using my hands. You can use a brush if you're more into using tools. I just try to simplify things. So I put some water on top of that naan. Okay, quite a bit of water actually, so that the seeds would stick to it. Sprinkle them over it. Just adds flavor and texture and health benefits. Grill, there's one on this stove, and soon there's going to be a few in the oven. It's going to go fast. You can see some naan in here, ready to be broiled, and then some cooking on the stove top. Usually when the dough is well rested, you don't even have to use a rolling pin. You can just flatten it with your hands, and it just works perfectly fine. So do watch your naans when they're... This one is broiled from one side perfectly, not the other side. So rotate them depending on your broiler. Sometimes it doesn't broil all the sides equally. Keep an eye on them. They can burn or they can harden depending on the amount of heat they get. Okay, now these guys look perfectly ready. If you're going to store these naans, make sure that you spread them out on the countertop so that they can cool off here, and then you can store them. You can easily put them in the freezer. In about a week, 10 days, they'll be all gone. So here's the final product. Very aromatic, very tender, very soft, perfect naan.